Good afternoon everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while, hasn't it? 28th of Feb I think the last live stream, but welcome back nevertheless wherever you are in the world. We're here in the iniBuilds A350-900 starting in Keflavik in Iceland, the MK Studios Keflavik, I think version 2 if I remember correctly. And we're in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 today. And we're off to the new VATSIM Studios Nuuk International Airport over in Greenland, a kind of state or a nation affiliated with Denmark for what it's worth. And we'll be checking out all of the new features and hopefully catching up with some of the news from FS weekend that happened over the weekend just gone over in Lelystad in the Netherlands as well. Quite a few things that I've not really kept up to date with, so I'll be checking that out today as well. So if you're new to the channel, great to see you. Hit like, hit subscribe and join us in the live chat throughout the journey today. It's about 2 hours for a flight time in the A350-900. Although I have just realised I forgot to update my FSLTL with a load of new models as well. So hopefully we don't have too many model matching discrepancies. But nevertheless, welcome to lots of the channel members in the chat already. We've got Badger, Rab, good afternoon guys. David, good afternoon mate. Good to see you. Chris Packett, Zato, Canadian Flight Simmer, welcome guys. We got a little bit of blurry texture going on, but just before the stream started I had a crash to desktop, so I tried to refresh the route in this, and it turns out once you've loaded the company route you can't then reload the company route or indeed wipe the FMS. So when I restarted the flight I then got a little crash to desktop. But this is the Osprey Airways A350-900, first time seeing it in the flesh on stream. It's superb. Our first livery from the Hughes by Horizon Simulations team. In the flight deck, a lot of the prep's already done because we now, well, at least by now, know how this aeroplane operates somewhat, and the weather at Nuuk is already challenging. Variable winds, -4 degrees, but later on it's going to kind of strengthen. At least the wind is going to strengthen somewhat. We're expecting 04 now, so our flight plan initially expected runway 22. And that ILS Yankee from Gedda. We're now expecting the ILS Yankee 04 number transition, although we could use a transition from final and make that work as well potentially. So we'll have a little play around en route with the arrival procedures, and we'll work out what is best. And actually we've got a lot of extra fuel on board as well, because our alternate today is Goose Bay, Canada, which quite the trek. Centurio, good morning. Carlito, good morning. Flying Panda, welcome. Rob, good to see you. So let's dive into this. I could probably change that cost index to something a bit more akin to, although 150 might be Mach 80. Let's leave it, and then we'll play with constant Mach throughout the journey. Flight level 400 for the cruise, and for the departure today we're going to be using runway 19, headed southbound initially, and then we'll be flying on the Sorry 2 Charlie departure. Insert temporary, and I'm not going to put a arrival into Nuuk just yet. So initially headed southbound, max 220 knots at Keflavik 285, and then turning westbound 283 degrees to Keflavik 289, and then outbound to Sorir, and then we'll be oceanic most of the way. If we then go to the Navigraph charts, just so we can get that overlay up a little bit better, we can turn on the online network VATSIM feed as well, which is really cool. There's our routing for today. So a little bit of oceanic work, but we have got some GPS waypoints. And at the moment, runway 04 operating with a 1 knot tailwind. It's very, very, very changeable at the moment. We just had a 10 knot tailwind on 22 with the last METAR, so we'll have to see what happens. And that pink there is our departure routing today. So that's off. It's been a while since I've done a live stream, so expect a little bit of mess. And I had a very extended night shift last night, so getting in at about 8:30 this morning. So I've had a couple of hours sleep. Transition altitude 7,000. Initial climb clearances by ATC, so we'll set 7 initially up to the transition, then work it out from there. We're on Unicom at the moment, 1228. We are now, and we can turn those on. 1, 2, 1, 2, oops, let's clear that. 1, 2, 1, 5 for guard. We'll monitor that on VHF 2. Like so. We've got comms active on 1228. Keflavik traffic, Osprey 165, heavy radio check. Let's see.
Readability 525.
Lovely. Thanks. We can use that little scroll wheel to have a little look-see. Happy days. Right, so back to the init page. Departure's done. Nav aids, fuel and load. We can turn the screen brightness of this down because it's rather bright. We can go to ground. No. Load sheets. There we go. Right. 0 fuel weight 169.99, so it's 170 basically. So we'll round it up to the nearest tonnage. 170 ton. Bosh. What have we got? 0 fuel weight, central gravity 29.85. We'll go with 29.9 therefore. And I'm just going to revert to my Debrief flight plan for passenger load today. It says 270. I just want to double check that matches, and it does. So 270. Block fuel 25.3 tons. We'll just rerun that. And it's going to recalculate our fuel. And we have a lot of extra fuel just because of the diversion options. It's either Keflavik, we can fly all the way back to Keflavik, or we carry on to Goose Bay. It's given us Goose Bay today. And we can therefore work out our performance. So we need to do sync Debrief, 19, that's all good. Sync the weather. Dry, 1+F flex standard, computes. 67 for the flex. We can send that to FMS. Like so. Cool. There's the transition altitude and the acceleration altitude to 1000 AGL. Climb. Manage 220. I'm not going to worry about pre-selecting any speeds. Cruise. Managed Mach 8.5 there, that's good. So that's that crossed index of 150. And then on the descent page, we can actually probably change this. So on conversion, we can drop it to 280. Oops. 280. So we can go Mach 8.5, and then on conversion and descent, 280. And then we'll deal with the other page later. So init's all done. We've got our winds and everything. We've cross-checked all of that data as well. The flight plan page is good. Performance page is good. Surveillance. Transponder mode automatic, and then we'll just have to flick that to TARA and fiddle around with those bits later. But we are, in any case, ready to go. With 10 minutes to spare. Right, let's revisit the live chat. Brad, you've got a Yaris, haven't you, mate? I think from memory. A Yaris hybrid, is that correct? Might be when I go down to Gatwick on Wednesday. I've also booked to test drive a Corolla Taurus Sport just around the corner for what it's worth. I'm still looking at different options for lower cars that are similar to what I've already got, and actually it's only Kia or Hyundai or Toyota that offer a true self-charging hybrid solution. So I'm looking at those. The only thing is I don't want to look like an Uber driver. Fong Ha, the A350 is a wonderfly aerodynamic, put the teeth in, a wonderfully aerodynamic aircraft. So, given our weight, we're not flying the super long haul today. We've got a gross weight of 195-300. The tanks, for example, the wing tanks are only half full, but the centre tank completely empty. And that's a lot of weight saved there. and actually 324 pax maximum. We've only got 270 passengers, and therefore the relevant weights for them and the baggage as well slightly different. So that helps us massively. I'm going to get our ANF, airport navigation function, ready to go. From when I flew into this the other day, it didn't actually have any compatibility with Nuuk, but we've got it in the MK Studios Keflavik scenery, like so, which is, you know, it's so good, isn't it? Look at that. Such an amazing system. We can have a look at Nuuk though anyway, just to see. We'll find out in a second. Yeah, see, it doesn't like it at all, look. But we could type BGGH, enter. No, not in ICAO database. Which is a bit of a downfall, really. They need to get that mapped ASAP, especially when there's 4 sceneries for this, effectively, which is pretty wild. But shortish, taxi. Down November to the threshold for 19, like so. Zoom in a bit more. Lovely job. So 7,000, managed, constraints. QNH 1018 is set. That is our departure QNH for today. It's supposed to be rock, sounds like weird bang, like sort of country music going on. And AP bleed as well, we can get that online. Nav lights are on. Lights and signs, we'll pop those on properly. Emergency exit lights are armed. Overhead panel, no white lights, that's all set up ready to go. So we can come the opposite direction to the power up, and we can pop those on to standby. GSX then, prepare for pushback and departure. We'll just go for airport associates. Ram says if the Corolla was anything like the Yaris, I would turn off lane assist or the alarms were going off all the time. Yeah, I'm hoping I can do a proper test drive. To be fair, we'll see what happens. I say a proper test drive, I'm going to make the most out of the performance of the car to really test it. I want to be able to pin it and see if the wheels spin out or if the traction control is clever enough to prevent it, because on my Sportage it doesn't do that. And that's a real weakness of it, and it destabilizes itself quite quickly at those high speed corners. Rab says I'm struggling and I've had 8 hours sleep. Across 2 days I've had 5 hours, but very broken, so actually 2 hours kind of before it breaks, and then on average another couple of hours on top of that across 2 days. Pretty tired. Commentator says, gutted, I missed your Discord message when I was T5, would have been great to say hi. I was literally in T5A landside departures at the time at work, so I could have ran through, but hope your trip's been okay. Justin says the new Wing hardware kit for the Airbus looks amazing. Have I seen it? I've seen pictures of it. It looks superb, doesn't it? It looks really good. Rab, yeah, it's an eCVT though. I don't know if your Yaris is a CVT or like with the belt and cones, or if it's a eCVT like the Corolla, which is 2 electric transmission motors. And it basically apparently works like a full electric, allegedly. Easy in the way. That's all good. That's fine though, because he's just calling up the taxi. We've got David up there. We've got a 7-3. I assume it's NPS maybe. Morning, Matthew. Welcome. Got back last night. Oh, I bet I was at work. You should have said again, because I would have popped by. I was on night shift last night, and it was pretty dead until 6 AM, and then a ruddy, drunken, stupid guy decides to start beating up passengers on the Vietnam flight flying in from Hanoi, literally as I'd got back to go home. So we had to go get a car and go back out and deal with that absolute oxygen thief. Nose right release point 8, nose left release point 8. Now is that going to be nose right or tug nose right? I think it's going to be nose right release point 8. Let's have a Just going to zoom in on the old Charteroonies here.
Keflavik traffic, Osprey 71 Alpha Golf, going to push off stand 3 to face south. Keflavik traffic.
Keflavik traffic, Osprey 165 heavy, stand 11, push start for nose right, release point 8, Keflavik.
Yeah, let's up and on.
Let's see what happens here. Beacon on. Chocks, GPU, ground equipment's clear. Let's get the slides arms and Y. Continue pushback. No. Chuffing heck. It's quite a clunky menu, this, isn't it? Oh, for goodness. Continue pushback. Lovely! Matthew, welcome. Power brakes released. Rab says you can't go wrong, Toyota. They hold their price and reliability is second to none. To be fair, they don't really hold their price that much compared to the new ones. I've noticed that they drop by about £5 within 6 months. Ignition mode starts. Engine 1, run. Justin, you can use things like map.vatsim.net, for example. Really good. Who have we got today?
We'd ask that you keep your seatbelt fastened whenever seated. If the cabin pressure changes, oxygen masks will automatically drop. Pull the mask towards you, place it over your nose and mouth, and secure it with the elastic band.
I was hoping Donald Trump might be our wing walker today, but he's not.
Be sure to secure your own mask before assisting others.
Moment of truth, are we going to face the right way or not?
Under or beside your seat. If instructed to use it, slip it over your head, fasten the straps.
Lovely.
Tight.
Pilot A320VO, welcome.
By pulling the red tabs or blowing into the mouthpiece. Only inflate your
Zato, nice to see you, matey. Good to see you.
There is a light and whistle for attracting attention. There are 8
I get through work. I can get £7,000 off a new Toyota,
in the event of an evacuation.
along with a load of different manufacturers as well. Some very, very good deals. So I am very tempted to. It's almost worth me for an extra £1,000 buying a brand new car. So there is an argument for me to do that, really. We shall see. Terminal charts for our departure. Look at that, we're getting push-pull. Engine 2 start up to that spot 8. That's a very good GSX profile for this. I tell you that's this is what makes GSX so good. Look at that. LOD's in the new sim, MSFS 2024, a bit poppy, I've noticed.
Get the traffic off by 7 Alpha Golf, taxi to hold short of runway 19 by the April November 4 in the Papa line. Get the traffic.
There's our first screenshot of the day. Yeah, my Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 has removed itself with the last update that came out. I don't know why or how, but I updated it, and when I paused it, because I had to kind of go back to it, I went to go and continue the update, but it completely deleted itself. All my add-ons, my community folder, the whole lot is just gone. I don't understand why. A350 is such a superb looking aeroplane, isn't it? Right, so engines 1 and 2 look good. Ignition mode, normal ground spoilers on, tugs being removed, rudder trim resets 0, and flaps 1+F. We'll set our takeoff trim, which is done automatically in this, back up to the top here. Water brake RTO, and we've got flight directors 7000. The FCU is set and prepped. There's the flaps set and green. Takeoff data is confirmed and checked. Press and hold config normal. And we've got that set. APU bleeds. Come off. Have we got the ground pin? Same thing's happened to me half a dozen times. Matthew says there. I've no clue how it's even possible. Yeah, nor me. I don't really understand what happened. It just happened for the first time with 2024 last week. Crikey. I don't know if it's got something to do with the sim update beta, because I signed up to the sim update beta for 2024. And when I then updated that, for some reason it's decided to also sign up to the beta for 2024. Right, he's off, I suppose. I didn't see his ground pin, but cool. Let's crack on. Brakes. Just going to toggle the brakes because MSFS 2024 is just as twitchy, look, with my rudder pedals as it is with 2020. And then another dab of the brakes, and we can taxi on idle. Now, as we taxi on out, we can do our control checks. I'll just put up a quick call for taxiing. Keflavik traffic, Osprey 165 heavies, taxiing to the whole point runway 19 via November. Keflavik.
Keflavik traffic, Osprey 1013, following the company 350 via November.
From the flight deck. On behalf of the entire crew,
I'd like to thank you all today's flight.
We're just about ready for departure, and the weather en route looks generally smooth with some light turbulence, so we're expecting a pleasant flight. We'll keep you updated on our progress.
We do elevators now, all the way back. We've already done rudder effectively with those brake and rudder checks when we were stationary on the ground. Otherwise it links into steering, doesn't it? So we want to avoid that. VOR 1, what do we got here for the departures? It's an RNAV, so we don't really need to track any VORs. Fair enough. We can turn that off. ID active. Navro's arc. That's just going to move ANF to look further forwards rather than more of a kind of 180 view. That way we go out of here. He's got a lot of flaws with this, and like somebody said in the live chat a moment ago, the livery, they've done a load of updates over a very short space of time. It's a little bit frustrating because it's now broken all the liveries. So for that reason I'm on the older variant of this aeroplane, just for what it's worth. I haven't actually updated to the latest version because it will break the liveries. We're looking at another week before the Osprey Airways livery is fixed and up to date, and as such we'll also bring out the A350-1000 livery as well, because that's going to be juicy. Yeah, the pedal disconnect button, actually that's there's a little bit of resistance, look, you can see there, but yeah, that works quite nicely actually. Thanks Matthew. I've not tried that with the active button there. Very poor LODs on FSLTL, but it is what it is. Don't know what they're doing. I assume they're taking off. Even that, the LOD over there is very poor. Might have to recheck my settings momentarily. Now look at that there's just gone super blurry as well.
Definitely traffic, Osprey A350
Weird.
Yankee is taxiing to holding point November 3 for runway 19 via November 1, November, cross runway 28, November 2, November 3. Definitely traffic.
I don't know what they're doing, or who that is. So we shall go to a stop. Oh, actually, that might be Centurio. It looks like it's lined up with the runway, but he's not. just going to use this at the moment to actually have a quick check of my graphics. Yeah. Render scaling 100, fidelity sharpening, dynamic settings, frame rate target 60, terrain level of detail 100, ultra high, object LODs 100, texture resolution. Well, that requires a restart. Depth of field ultra. Very strange.
Traffic, Osprey 808 Yankee is crossing.
Anyway, let's. Ooh. Where'd he go? Everybody's disappeared. Oh. That's very strange. I disconnected.
Osprey 808 Yankee is cleared runway 28.
Keflavik traffic, Osprey 165 Heavy is lining up 19. TCAS TARA, that's all good, that's all set. Performance page, get the strobes, landing lights, nav beacon, we don't need the wing lights. Okay, lining up.
Keflavik traffic, Osprey 1013 behind the departing company 350 will line up runway 19.
Lovely job. Just whack on the brakes there. Look at that. Such a great aeroplane. There's all sorts of weirdness in the sim at the moment with LODs. But hey ho. Right. We are prepped. Keflavik traffic. Osprey 165 Heavy is departing 19. Sorry to Charlie departure. Taking off. Keflavik. Okie dokie. Right. Donut to the first gauge. Let's get rid of the brakes for now. Can spool up and roll. Engine's good. Flex, SRS, runway, auto thrust green. Nav blue. Power's set. Speed's alive. Delta Tango, welcome mate. 100 knots. So 9 knot crosswind by the way folks.
V1.
Rotates. V2. Straight into winds. Some choppy water. Positive rate gear up. And we follow the flight directors. Whee. Up we go. Superb aeroplane this. Lever climb. And we go to derate climb. Just spend a moment. There's the taxi cam if you like. Enjoying a couple of wing views. Frames per second 73 at the moment. I haven't seemed to cap it for some reason. I don't know why that's not reactivated itself. But flaps up. Okay, warning of destination E fuel on board there. Let's just have a quick check. Min fuel at destination is.
Osprey 808 Yankee, do you want to go next? No, negative after you.
And order pilot 1 on. Keflavik traffic, Osprey 165's airborne through 3000. Keflavik. Briefing preview, block fuel, fin res plus alternate 12.2. Let's just change that. Get rid of that message. Flaps up, ground spoilers disarms, and we'll keep it going. We'll back it right up to 40. just go thrust to derate climb on the way up. Taxi lights can come off. We'll leave the landing lights on for a wee bit longer. And we can extend that range ring display as well.
Keflavik traffic, Osprey 1013, departing 19 via the Sorry to Charlie departure.
Keflavik traffic, Osprey 71, Alpha, going to line up and wait.
Mainly the high preset,
departing company traffic.
by the looks of it, the high flyer. It seems my my NVIDIA thing has kind of just done its own thing and taken over the sim a little bit, optimised it. I might need to change some of the back to Ultra, to be honest. I do love MSFS 2024 and visuals and the cloud and things. It's something else, isn't it? Look at that. And the sounds are just superb. Let's go to this side. What we got? Lovely. So Nuuk is a bit of a weird position. Those of you who saw my preview video for the VATSIM Studios version of this scenery the other day will have heard me talk about it. But effectively, it's designed to replace Narsarsuaq, or whatever, however you say it. I can't really ever pronounce that way. But the main airport that's been in place in Greenland for many years. Effectively, they've decided now to build another runway or extend the runway at Nuuk and turn that into the country's new international airport. So some international services are now going to Nuuk. It's a strange location because actually Nuuk gets completely battered most days by the weather. It's 10,000, leveling off, so let's just go through here. I forgot standard pressure, push, landing lights. I'll probably get penalised on New Sky for that now because I was chatting away. That's on standard as well. Jolly good. But yeah, it tends to just get absolutely smashed with wind and weather and rain and all sorts. Quite a hostile environment, certainly compared to Narsarsuaq, where it doesn't seem to be as volatile weather-wise. The METAR at the moment is 070 at 11, all the 9s, very high cloud ceiling, QNH 1008 -5 for the air temperature, so it doesn't sound too bad at the moment weather-wise, whereas the other day when we flew in, the weather was horrendous. So because of that, it seemingly is going to be a very nice day into Nuuk today. And as a result, we'll actually be able to enjoy a lot of the really nice scenery that we've got on offer here as well. Mitchell says, do you fly in 2024 a lot? I kind of have to now because my 2020 MSFS has deleted itself. So I've pretty much lost everything on there. Unfortunately. Tazzy says, have to say this has to be the best fitting aeroplane for your channel's livery, the VA's livery. Looks so good. Absolutely. Wesley, welcome to you as well. 4 years +1. Enjoy Greenland. Thank you very much, matey. And Canadian Flight Sim, good morning to you. Martin says, hello, regarding the frames per second, how is it compared to the A300? It's a heck of a lot better. They've done a really good job with optimising this, to be honest. A very impressive job at that. Let's turn the seatbelt sign off. So compared to the A300, it's a heck of a lot better. Lazarus Kalispera. Joe, welcome. Lucy says, is €1,800 for a PC good enough, good graphics and frames in MSFS? I think you might struggle with that, mate, but it depends on what you get for the money, so we'd need to know for that price what RAM, what CPU, what power unit, what graphics card you're able to get there with that. Wonghar says he's travelling on the A350 with Turkish Airlines this summer in real life. Can't wait. First time to be in the A350. I never hear anything bad about it, to be honest. So, pretty nice. I haven't flown on one yet. I was meant to fly on one last year to FS Expo, but I had to cancel the trip. But that would have been my first experience of the A350 as well, and I was using all my Avios points to book the club suite to fly business as well, just using my air miles. So I was super excited for that, and then had to cancel for a number of different reasons. John says, has anyone had any issues with the screens flashing whilst taxiing and then the sim crashes? It's happened to him a few times now. Just check to make sure you've actually cleared your WASM folder, John. There's instructions on the iniBuilds website, on their forum in fact, I think. Every time you update, you need to clear the WASM folder, which then resets your throttle calibrations and things like that. It might be that that's causing the problem, but I'm not sure. Canadian Flight Sim says, took off from Tokyo last night, headed towards Dallas, Fort Worth, put his 350 in a hold before top descent so he could drop his kids off at school. Nice. Love the dedication. And Rab there, so yeah, that's very true, mate. Says the Air Greenland A330-800 from Copenhagen regularly returns back to Copenhagen because of the conditions at Nuuk being so poor. I mean, Lucy, that's pretty good then for €1,800. The only thing I would recommend is trying to get 64 gig of DDR5 RAM with the 4070 Super. And maybe a more powerful GPU. What have I got? I can't remember what I've got now. 7900X or something like that, I think. But basically, if you get that 5700X, you're going to really limit yourself with the CPU. So you'll still be, with a 4070 Super and 32 gig DDR4 RAM, you'll still be needing probably medium preset, roughly, at a guess. Something to bear in mind there. Yeah, when I realised Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 had removed itself without permission from my computer, I was pretty disappointed, pretty gutted. How are we doing on the climb? Let's have a quick check-in. So sorry, that's our transition, and we should have approximately 21.9 tons of fuel on board. So look at that, we've got a bit over there. It's 22.7 for the fuel burn. The D-rate climb makes it a bit more efficient. John says, if cleared the WASM folder, it still happens. Oh, I'm not sure then, mate. It's a bit of a strange one. Yeah, I'm not sure what to suggest for you, buddy. We absolutely, we need the we need the PMTG 777 and the iFly 737 Max 8 and the 737NG series from PMTG pretty sharpish into 2024. Very keen to get hold of those. Is the Phoenix Airbus family pack worth to buy? Losers asking. Yeah, I mean that's a superb aeroplane add-on. To be fair, all of them, the A320 from Phoenix, and then their 19 and 21 expansion, superb. Ian, good afternoon, mate. Welcome. Hope you're well. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring up the Threshold kind of news website. Because they do like a FS weekend roundup. Well, I think it's only a day one roundup, so. I'm gonna have a wee look. As we climb away, because I very much am not up to date with any of this. Let's bring it up here on the screen. Yes, get a bit of sky view at the same time, shall we? Same Tensions AI, what have we got here? Individual AI entities for AI air traffic control and living world. Navigraph with a scratch pad, giving templates to write notes, like craft clearances, takeoff performance. That looks really cool actually, look at that. Flight Sim Studio have been quite disappointing. They've updated their E-Jets apparently very recently, and they modelled it as a major update, but actually the aeroplane's still, after what, 4 years or 3 years now, in quote early access, still doesn't have VNAV or any of the key features that the E-Jets actually have and need. So I feel like they've taken us all for a bit of a ride at the moment, Flight Sim Studio, and the E-Jets have just been a complete disaster in terms of quality and stuff. But the 727 passenger jet coming soon apparently, next month. Fully modelled cabin, and some expansions as well. Super 27 expansion apparently as well. So we'll see what happens coming later this year. I mean the cabin doesn't look. I mean that looks pretty underwhelming, doesn't it? To be honest, looks very low resolution for a cabin. So that's that'd be disappointing. Cool aeroplane, but very basic kind of stuff here. They've also announced progress to the E-Jet series for the sim, including a new MCDU support and support for custom nav data importing, performance improvements, new MFD modes, weather radar, enhanced LNAV, and more. They've been saying that for 2 years, so people just need to tell them to stop taking the mickey a little bit and just be honest with the lack of development, because they've said for ages and ages now, I think it's literally 2 years, we're going to give you a new MCDU soon and custom nav data and custom LNAV, enhanced LNAV. They've been promising this constantly. Bit of a joke really. Winwing are really stealing the show though, because as we know, I've got some of their hardware and it's superb for the price, but they have taken a lot of the feedback from the community, some of which I've provided myself as well, and they've gone next level with it. Look at that, all metal mechanisms, backlighting, detents, Ursula Minor airline throttle and panels. It looks really superb, doesn't it? And the price was incredible. And here is the PAP panel for those of us who like a Boeing. Again, it's just amazing. So there's some really superb products coming soon to us. And the Taurus electronic load control rudder pedals. I need some new rudder pedals, so I might try and see if I can get hold of a set of those for the purposes of a review. Because I'm actually in the market for some new rudder pedals, so I can bin off my cheap Thrustmaster T-Flight kit, which actually. It might be at the point, actually, if I can replace those, I'll have a full T-Flight set, and I'll be able to maybe sell them to somebody at a cheap rate on the channel. Stick them on eBay or something like that. That's the day one update. But these are the things that I'm really excited for, really. Fong says, if I've got a man cave fully decorated with Windwing stuff. Yeah. Oh, their new PFP 3N, which is like the 737 FMS. That's now been updated and is compatible with the 737 series from PMDG, the 600, 700, 800 and 900 apparently, according to the update that I downloaded today. But I mean, they look superb, don't they? Honeycomb are back with updates to some of their hardware. They're going a bit more of a general aviation focus, which is disappointing, but I suppose they're trying to make themselves niche now that they've split off with Nicky, and Nicky's created his own product. They've got like an airline style joystick and things, but they look nice, but they don't look, when you compare that against what Wing are creating, for example, for £100, or the Ursa Minor actually Airbus stick is like 80 quid, 70 quid, 80 quid. That is a superb price. But there's a different option for you there, a different kind of Airbus-y type style, which is quite nice. It's good to have all these options, really. Alpha controls, they're superb. My Honeycomb Bravo I love. It's just that the whole thing with Honeycomb at the moment, with their previous things that have happened over the last few years, it's just been a bit messy. And that's Meridian, so the founder of Honeycomb, Nicky, has now split away because of all the drama that happened. And he's now created Meridian GMT, and this is the initial product line that was announced on FS Weekend in Lelystad. iniBuilds Ed, welcome. Say hello, everybody. We've got one of the main iniBuilds team in the chat. David says pedals would be my next upgrade. Yeah, me too. That's what I'm really looking out for, really. But I mean, that looks very nice, doesn't it? Not far off the actual brand set for Honeycomb. Very similar style and font, isn't it? But but a little bit more of an airline style, a little bit more of an airline vibe, which I quite like. So, and that's going to be new. What's that? So Sierra Plus, which is that yoke unit, and they're saying there $325 US dollars approximately. That's quite expensive when you look at potentially what Wing are bringing out. Commercial 737. There's not very much on there, is there? I don't know what that's supposed to be. Didn't pay attention to the thing. Is that the throttle unit or that's going to be the yoke. Oh, that's quite cool. Yeah, multiple panel configurations. And I mean, that's quite snazzy, isn't it? I do like the look of that. That's very cool indeed. There's like a Tango Plus throttle unit. That is a very impressive looking bit of kit and design. I like that a lot. And it's nice that you can have the interchangeable bottom there, look, so we can go for that more of a commercial feel. Very snazzy. And an Xbox controller, that looks pretty cool. I'm trying to find the Wingwings launch stuff because let's have a quick look here. Wing. We'll have to use FS Elite. Ian says, my Plastic Fantastic TCA Airbus stick is on its last legs, so it'll need a new solution soon. Yeah, I mean, this stuff just looks a whole nother level, doesn't it? Yeah, Ursa Minor airline throttle, Airbus style, $127.95. That's about £100. That is insanely good value for what you get now. And we know from previous products that we've had and what I've already been using from Wing that the price versus quality is just a whole nother level that nobody can really match. Airline throttle panel 107, that's about £90. Speed brake, very nice cool Airbus style there. The question for me would be how quick they make everything compatible. That's the only sad thing, because the PFP and the FCU and things have taken a long time to get compatible with various things. MIP airline panel, that's the Boeing style, I love that, $150. Stunning bit of kit. Be good to compare that against the FCU really. Mag switch, mag panel, PDC 3N for the extra bit, so you can have that full setup there. Very snazzy. And here we go, so to be decided. Look at that. It's not going to let me zoom in, is it? Rudder pedals, the Taurus rudder pedals, we just saw those, but they also announced that Boeing yoke there that they're kind of building into their product line. Their electronic load control yoke was still being developed. Very, very early days for that. But those two things there have been the big ones really. The load control, rudder pedals and yoke, they're going to be huge, and I would imagine that's still going to be offered at an exceptionally good price. Until you see that, Cyber Taurus electronic load control rudder pedals, $800 US. So that goes completely contrary to what we've been getting used to with with the really good prices for their yokes and sticks and throttles and things. And now we go into the realms of crazy pricing, matching with a lot of other developers of this stuff. But that's going to be insanely good quality though. But for that price, you want to see and feel and make sure you know that you're getting value for money. Didn't know it was that expensive, crikey. Cyber Taurus Series 699 or joystick base 41495. So yeah, that's all going to be very expensive, isn't it? The new yoke and rudder pedals, crikey. Still, probably unmatched with anything else. God blimey, commentator, absolutely. So Sossets next. Let's have a quick check of our fuel. Look like we're 1,000 kilos above. That's pretty good. Chris has asked about the last stream with Wing Wing. Bought the Ursha Minor Airbus. It came within a week, and I'm very impressed, especially compared to the Thrustmaster TCA Airbus. Yeah, that tends to be most of the feedback that we see is just supremely positive with the price of that Ursha stick. If I hadn't already purchased the F16 HOTAS for DCS, I would have probably got the Ursa stick myself. The price was 60, 70, 80 pounds. I can't remember precisely. It's just so good. But yeah, pedals for me are next. I need a good set of rudder pedals, really. Although $800 is a bit eye-watering, isn't it? Hi, Flower, welcome. Says all the aeroplanes work great on MSFS 2024, apart from Phoenix, which seems to run out of my 12 gig VRAM of 4070 Super. Crikey. I don't know really what to suggest with that. Rob, no worries, buddy. Yeah, commentator, I imagine if they were a different brand, then those rudder pedals might be $1,500 instead. If that makes sense. If anyone is tuning in, by the way, I have basically had very little sleep over 2 days. I've just finished a row of night shifts, so expect some mistakes and some weird brain fart moments when we get into Nuuk. Unless the coffee kicks in, but I'm exceptionally tired today. But it's the only day really that I can go ahead and actually get a stream done for you guys. So I wanted to give you something, because a lot of the content recently has been pre-recorded, just working around the puppy, but the missus is off at the moment. And as a reminder, on Wednesday, I'm off down to Gatwick to go to Infinity Sim Wings, South Point. I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be very cool indeed. 2 experiences, and we've got at the moment exclusive discounts on the channel for any of you watching that might live nearby that want to go and experience this. You can go for 2 hours, $375, flying from gate to gate with all the procedures, and one of the guys there will be sat next to you, acting as your first officer to help you walk through and talk through stuff. For half a day, 550 quid, and a full day, £800, including challenging weather, in-flight emergencies on request, multiple legs of full flights flown as well, and all that kind of stuff. So that's very, very cool. And then if you really want to push it, and you might be doing things like you know, considering careers as an airline pilot, you can go for the advanced experience following SOPs. And that's slightly more expensive, but it's a heck of a lot more in-depth as well. But these guys, I'm very excited because they have basically created this full simulator. Let's see if we can get better pictures. There you go. This full simulator, wrap round Pro Sim A320 in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, with loads of custom scenery. They've got Parallel 42's Flow Pro, I think, in there as well, I've noticed, for when they quickly change weather dynamically in the background and things. They've got all your charts on those tablets. They've got GSX. They've got Beyond ATC and Say Intentions fed into it, so you get AI traffic and AI ATC that you need to interact with. And then with Say Intentions, there's an interaction with the cabin crew involved as well. And the ground crew, like the dispatcher and things. So there's a whole lot of cool stuff with that, and I'm very excited to go and explore this. I'll be there for pretty much most of the day on Wednesday, recording content, chatting with the owner, and every single person watching the channel can enjoy 5% off those fees. Silver frequent flyers 10% off, and gold frequent flyers 15% off with a code. And if you do want those codes, they are in the community posts on the channel. You can go back and find those and book away. You book it all online, it's really easy. And if you're going a little bit further away, that's where they're based, at South Point, literally just by the perimeter fence at Gatwick. Inside there's parking on site, but there's also I think a Radisson Red opposite, and they do discounts with the hotel, so that if you were coming, say, from, I don't know, Scotland or something, and you wanted to come and explore and enjoy this for the day, then you can book a hotel at a preferred rate that they've managed to sort out as well. But they also do a whole load of things like application guides and flight school prep guides and all this other stuff, interview prep assistance, online training created by real pilots as well. Yeah, so if you're pushing into that real-world airline pilot training, you could dive into a lot of this, and some of it's pretty cheap. You know, $14.99, for example, for revision question banks, and different simulator guides and interview guides for different airlines, depending on what they're looking for, specifics of that. So yeah, there's a hell of a lot to dive into. They offer a heck of a lot. What's quite cool with these is they are at the moment looking at getting signed off by the CAA to actually be able to offer formal pilot simulator training, recurrent sim training and things like that. And they've had the likes of EasyJet pilots go in and kind of do test flights with it. They've been overwhelmingly impressed, apparently. And the CAA as well have been quite impressed. So watch this space. They might be rolling out some proper stuff, but we've got pre-APS MCC, they do multi-crew things, cockpit familiarization, working through advanced systems as well, 8-hour simulator program, lots of different chapters, online training. There's a whole lot of stuff to dive into. So that's what I'm doing on Wednesday. Really looking forward to it. My first ever time flying a proper simulator. I'm a little bit nervous for it, if I'm honest. Because at the end of the day, I've got used to my own methodology, sat in my house with all my sim set up in a very specific way, therefore you get your muscle memory and all the rest of it. So I'll be diving into something quite unique and very different. I'm very excited for that. There's the Osprey Airways livery. It's actually absolutely superb. Just stunning on this aeroplane, isn't it? And as we said before, the new update for the iniBuilds A350 has tweaked things like the winglets and things. So they've broken a lot of the liveries, including our virtual airline liveries. So for that reason, I haven't updated to the latest version. I'm waiting for Hughes by Horizon to update our VA livery before I do that. And at the same time, they'll be hopefully releasing the A350-1000 Osprey Airways livery too, so you guys can enjoy that. But yeah, superb livery, it's just stunning. And the cabin as well, as a little reminder, we've gone for a generic cabin. Zato, no, we didn't. Although I'm not sure if I'd be a fan of that. I don't know why. $40,000. I was kind of expecting that to say cruise. Where's the performance page? Yeah, it's in cruise though. Mach 8.5. What's the next thing? We've got an hour, 10 minutes to go apparently. The A350 is just by far my favourite aeroplane in real life. Let's have a little look at Volanta, shall we? Bosh. Just going to add my screenshots and then hopefully the Volanta thing will catch up. Follow flight, there we go. So what have we got? We've got some of the folks ahead. Badger, Air Greenland 79 Echo. Very nice, look at that. Cool livery. So unique. Osprey 115 is airborne as well up front. We've got, what else? There's me. Got an ATR Osprey 59 November buzzing around at the moment as well. He's just departed from Keflavik and he's off to Nuuk as well, so he might arrive at the same time. Got a good little gravy train going on. Zato Osprey 1013, he's flying, is that Zebo in X-Plane? I think I remember you saying it was Zebo. Very nice. And David, Osprey 71 Alpha Golf. Oh yes, there she is, lined up, beautiful. And then we've got Osprey 808 Yankee in the A300, or is that the A310 old school livery? What is it? Statistics. I don't know, it doesn't say. Looks like, oh, A300, lovely. That's our little lot for the day. Oh, it's the iFly 737, fair enough. So you're still on 2020 MSFS Zato, is that right? Or have you managed to get it in the sim? Put no mobile devices onto auto. So you can use your tablet, Mikkel. Welcome, mate. Flying into Nuuk, USA today. Terrible. A couple of options available to us, and I am curious to hear what you might want to do. What have we got here? 314GH. Let's tune that. Navrad. It's going to be in here, isn't it? 314. Do 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 do. Four. So I'll whack the charts up on the display here with Navigraph so we can discuss the options. Flight wise then, at the moment 04 is preferable. You can see how variable these winds are, because when we departed Keflavik it said a 2 knot headwind. Now it's a 2 knot crosswind, 13 knot headwind, but it is switching all the time. So that will change again. We'll take that with a pinch of salt. But 04 is the favourable option at the moment, which is nice because it brings us in over the water. We should get some nice views of the pier on the left hand side and a few other bits as well as we make our way in. A couple of different options for the approach though. At the moment we have tuned in for ILS Yankee. So instead of going to Getga, what we'll do is fly to Inban, and then we'll probably break off direct down to Nunba like so, and then fly into GH. That's where we're basically turning final. And that's the ILS Yankee 04. So we'll sack off Getga, and then we'll end up kind of coming in from this direction. And then we'll turn in from 04 India, that's an 11-mile final, so we need to be at 3,500 feet roughly by that point in time. But there is other options available to us. We've got RMP Alpha, that's coming in from the south. Bravo, what do we got here? Charlie. So we could also use this as an option, which is the RMB Alpha unspecified runway, so we could fly into Adcut and then we basically fly an RMP approach into GHM40 and then you step in, but effectively when we get in this little bit here we'd turn the autopilot off and hand fly that final approach. That's an option for us. What do we got here? Although it's not applicable for Cat D, so we can't do that one. Can't do that one. So it'd be RMP Charlie is the only other option there for us, which is that. It's basically the same thing, but it's different. Just approach probably. ILS X-ray. So we could come in and fly over the airfield to GH NDB, Nuuk NDB. And then we could head out and fly an 11.6 DME arc and then turn in on final. Although we'll be a lot lower, we'll be 2,500 feet, so that's an option. Or we can stick with the ILS Yankee 04. We can't do the Zulu because that's for category A and B aeroplanes only. And we're category D, so we only have so many charts here. We've got the ILS X-ray and the ILS Yankee basically of use for us today. High Flyer, because it's a default aircraft, the A330 in 2024, I don't use it because they tend to be pretty messy. I just steer clear of them completely in general. Yeah, the ILS X-ray looks particularly cool, doesn't it, Ian? So I'm tempted to kind of break off when we do that. Instead, as we overfly Nuuk, we can have a nice view of the city below, drop down to 2,500 feet, and then soar out round on this thing. So, RAB is because they will have probably just gone on Debrief and just generated the generic route. It's a bit different to the one we're using. Shall we do the RMP X-ray, folks? RMP X-ray 04. which is that one there, overfly the city, or should we do the ILS Yankee? Let me know in the live chat. Ian's voting already for the ILS X-Ray by the looks of it, by the sounds of it. But that's the ILS Yankee, coming in over the terrain into number and then turning inbound for the ILS. Or ILS X-Ray 04 is coming in through the fjords. Are they fjords there? I suppose we can call them fjords. But yeah, coming in over the city and over the airfield, dropping down to 2,500, flying that 11 DMER, turning in. Yeah, what do you want me to do, Joe? That's the question. ILS Yankee or ILS X-Ray? I mean, the caveat there is the X-Ray has to be with good visibility, because the RVR has to be 750 or higher, and turbulence to be expected. Depending on our sequencing as well, by the way, folks. Where is it? Backtrapping is going to be required. So there's not really much turning radius here in Nuuk, for what it's worth. So hopefully we've got about 5 minutes each on each departure, or separation of about 5 minutes. If not, we're going to have to enter hold somewhere, because we're landing on 04. Which is that away. Alpha is one exit, and we've got Bravo there, which is narrower, I think. But we're probably unlikely to stop in 1,000 meters. That's going to be a heck of a lot of braking, because the threshold is about here, about there. So for us to be able to stop in that time is quite an undertaking. So for that reason, we'll probably just roll on out with gentle brakes to about here, get the brakes off, turn around using the bit at the bottom, and then we'll backtrack. If we're a little ATR, we can stop pretty quick. There won't be too much of an issue, but we've got that to consider there. What have we got here? SIDS. Bravo looks just as wide actually, so that's okay, we could use that as well. Landing beyond the glide slope, 1,941 metres of usable landing length there. So quite short really for these big aeroplanes. The A350-900 from Air Greenland flies into here, and its runway extension has been put in place for these bigger aeroplanes. Two-way radio communications with AFIS radio required startup. 22 right-hand circuit. Usage taxiway Charlie limited to aircraft types A, B and C. Towing possible for aircraft start D and D. Right, so we can't use Bravo or Charlie. So we're going to have to land on 04, head right to the end of the runway, turn around and then come all the way back down off at Alpha. I'm going to leave those little X's there just as a reminder for me that we can't use that. Yeah, that's something to bear in mind. So, how are we doing sequencing wise? Pretty poor. Oh dear. Just looking at various holds to see what options we have. Right, so if we're flying the ILS X-Ray, there's a hold over Nuuk, GH, there. And if we fly the ILS Yankee, there's a hold at Number, but for what it's worth, if you are flying that, folks, Number holders are not included in the standard approach transitions, so you've just got to bear that in mind. The weather at the moment, Joe, 050 at 13, but variable between 030 and 100 degrees. All the nines, few clouds 200, -4 for the temperature, QNH 1007. Top descent on the display. We've got a little way to go though. Alright, there's a quick poll for you. Yeah, the weather's insanely changeable, so we could expect some different weather. Five, 1228, that's all good, that's all set. And because we don't have the ANF system for Nuuk via the Navigraph charts and things, we're going to have to manually set up brake to vacate. So for those of you who do not have a Navigraph subscription, when we set up the brake to vacate, but I could do it now to be fair. What it will do is allow you to... I'll wait till a little bit closer, we've got a bit of time. What it will allow you to do is actually see how to set it up yourself manually. And what we will use is that usable landing length instead. 1941 landing beyond the glide slope. What I'll do is I'll change that to 1800 meters instead. I mean, the get da transition would work quite nicely for the ILS X-ray because it will bring you in over the water away from the terrain. It's actually quite a good natural transition point. I'll leave the poll running for a little bit longer and I'll just sit researching some of the minimums and things required. Approach minimums. So Cat D. On 200. Plus is 530 actually, so that'll do 530. Lovely jubbly. If all goes well on Wednesday, I'll be recording videos, some audio, various other bits. I bought a set of Rode microphones so I can actually do some proper voice recording, and I'm hoping that'll work out quite nice. And we'll just see what I can create really throughout that flight sim experience day. And then having actually tried it and done it myself, I'll be able to properly, truly tell you guys what it's like. And then I'll go and test drive that Corolla Rab. I'll have to let you know what it's like. I loathe the idea of getting car finance again, for even just, albeit for a couple of grand to top up my Part X and my Sportage, but in my head I'm like, well, if it means that I don't have to lift my dog in and out of the boot all the time to protect her joints, then it'd be worth me just getting a slightly bigger car ultimately, like an estate, something lower that she can get into and out of herself, and that way I can also buy a crate. I've had a haircut especially, Ian, just in case. The thing is, Rab, I've been massively sports. Some of the cars I've driven in the past are Volvos, BMWs, that sort of thing. And my previous car was a BMW 5 Series before I got my Kia Sportage Hybrid, which is a Sadiq car. I couldn't fault the car. It was one of the finest, most refined vehicles I've ever driven, and it had the power when you needed it, and it was also supremely relaxing and comfortable as well. So you couldn't fault it, and I had to get rid of it because it wasn't ULEZ compliant. And that then forced me into getting my Kia. Right, there we go. ILS X-Ray 04. So we'll use the get da transition. I can't really pronounce that very well today. We'll use the get da transition, and then we'll move from there to the ILS X-Ray 04, and that'll work out quite well. Just keep us out of the way of the terrain. Looking at the charts. Simgeek channel, welcome. BGGH arrivals. Approach. ILS X-Ray. There we go. So I can go to pins and I can get rid of the Yankee. Minimums. So we've got one parking stand, or one to support the A350. We'll park there. We don't need the RNAV departure at Keflavik anymore, so we can unpin that and the airport parking stands. So we've got parking stands for Nuuk, the airport chart for Nuuk. There's that usable landing length, and then the ILS X-Ray, which is that, and the minimums chart alongside it too. So what we're going to do is just use that category D minimum there of 530. There's quite a few different options, look, but it effectively depends on operator policy by the looks of it. Different RVRs, so the RVRs of 900 meters for us with full approach lighting, we can do 530 feet, or 285 on the decision height for our rad out, with a 5-degree minimum missed approach climb gradient, which this can achieve quite easily. If the RVR is a bit worse, if the weather's a bit more inclement, a bit poor, and we've got some fog or heavy rain or whatever it might be, then the minimums go up to 1,200 feet on the barometric altitude, or 955 feet on the rad out, and then circle approaches like so. Ah, chuffing it. Don't want that. It's flight control replay. Wrong button. We've got 04 down to there. Category D. We could do a circling approach. Yeah, Beyond ATC is still a bit weird, isn't it, Rab? I haven't used it in a very long time, actually, to be fair, because I found it quite rough around the edges. Brad reckons I'm going to love the Corolla. Rightio. So let's get that approach fed in then. So arrival, runway 04, ILS X-ray, via none, star none. So that should use the scroll wheel here. Ooh, look, that doesn't have the data in. Interesting. Just going to bring this range into plan mode here and have a little look. Yeah, look at that. Not happy with that nav data at all. Right, so in that case, we're probably just going to have to hand fly the approach for the ILS X-ray. And if that's the case, what we'll do is instead of doing, where is it, charts? So we could either hand fly this and do 314 and then use sort of heading or track mode to go 258 to 9.5 Nuuk and then fly the arc, or we could do the circling approach, so do a circle to land. And we have minimums of 1750 in that case. And if we do that, then it will be kind of fly the ILS for 2-2 and then break off, fly downwind. Rightio, let's see. Insert temporary. So Getka. What if it's going to let me do this? GH. So even that's incorrect. Look, frequency channel 320. I just want to find GH on the charts. 314, 64, 1046.7, 0514. Right. That's neither of those. It doesn't even have the NDB in the nav data. Crikey. So I can't even build that. Brilliant. So we don't have any NDBs to choose from. That's fine, we'll send it anyway. Yeah, the NDB doesn't exist though in the box, Matthew. That's the problem. So I can't do GH2589. So actually, what I might do, I'll do a circle to land. Screw it. So we'll do for 2-2, ILS Yankee, get to transition, no stars, temporary flight plan, and then we'll break off to the west. Because that's just going to be, it's going to be easier doing it this way, isn't it? Going to get a horrible bit of pulsing now on this, which makes me nervous. Right, there we go. That looks a little bit better, so we'll just we'll do that. Then we'll break off west. So the nav aid page, 108.95. We'll just do a circle to land. Well, I can't really show OS charts view AvGeek sim channel, unfortunately. What have we got? So this is going to be now the backup plan. ILS Yankee 22 get to transition 7,400 feet. We'll then work down on the ILS to 22, and as we get towards minimums, or kind of 1 DME here, we're going to break off over the bay, and we're going to then fly a downwind leg, and then we'll just hand fly a visual approach onto 04. What could go wrong? I've had no sleep. It'll be fine. Performance page approach. So we could put in the minimums for that. We'll go for 1520. I'd rather go high. So we can set that. It's as close as we can set up without me fiddling around, as Matthew says, with manual waypoints, GPS coordinates and things. But yeah, I'm dubious about testing it in case it triggers like a WASM crash. I'm not sure if anyone has ever tried putting in manual coordinates for fixed rings and manual waypoints in this before. So I daren't try. Outside air temperature -4. QNH1007. Minimums, full flaps. Transition altitudes. Where's it? See, now the wind has switched. We've got a 3 knot tailwind for 04 and a 9 knot crosswind. It's so variable at Nuuk, it's insane. So we want 1095, transition altitude 7. So actually we're going to want transition 080. That's the approach page. Complete. Nav aids 108.905 INK 222 for the inbound course. Jolly good. And we've got no ANF. So actually, let's. How far have we got to top of descent? 160. It's a lot of very sparse, icy territory around us. Look. And I wonder if that's Nuuk over there. There's some horrible tiling going on. What was I about to do? Top of descent. Brake to vacate. Right, let's go plan, zoom. BGGH not in database, so what we need to do is bring it up, landing. Interesting. So it won't let me change runway 22 there. But I'm going to set 1800, just see what we get. Brake to vacate, exit. But if it becomes problematic or doesn't seem right, it would just revert to manual brakes anyway, very quickly. But that's effectively how you set up your brake to vacate manually. You don't need to set it up. If you pressed auto brake now to arm that without setting up brake to vacate, by default it just gives you auto brake medium. So I'm going to have to go to approach. ILS-22, we'll pin that. Because that's actually the chart that we're going to need now. For the approach. And then I can set up some fix rings. So I'm going to go, I'm actually going to use the ILS-04 as a fix. So NUK. And I'm going to draw some extended centre lines. Do a 4-2. Miles. Two. 4 miles. A fixed ring, so I'm going to change this one as well actually to INK, and I'm going to switch that to 9 instead. Oops. That one I want to delete. Two, 4. See how we get on. Creating GH 100% works, Matthew says. I will stick to the circling approach because I've selected it now. I don't want to. I'm worried about keeping, consistently changing the approach data. What is going on down here? What the? There's some real weird tiling issues. Look at that. Yeah, FS95 out the front window, Ian says. Thanks, Matthew. So Barrow, 1007, approach data, all the performance pages are complete. Approach page complete with the higher minimums for the circling approach. So it's similar to the ILS X-ray, we're going to go over the, we're going to fly downwind leg rather though, instead of being over the city, but hey. I was kind of hoping as we flew a bit closer this would sort itself out, because that is rather gopping, isn't it? Don't know what on earth that is meant to be. It's like a big cross section of Greenland at the moment. It's just not, it doesn't exist in the sim. Very strange. Thankfully Nuuk has some nice photogrammetry, so once we get past this bit, it should look okay. But it's good to see actually the sim has got a whole load of weird behaviour in 2024 still. Look at that, what a mess. Ruins the screenshots, doesn't it? Rab's still on 2020. Not a bad move, to be fair. Rab's just got white ahead as well. You're in 2020, so it's good. It's interesting you don't have any tile problems, but we do in this. The other guys, those of you flying behind, if you're in 2024, have you got this same behaviour? I'm quite curious to know. Oh, okay, you've had the same thing in 24, Badger, good. Okay, so this is definitely a sim problem then, with Greenland. Server issue as usual, Joe says. Quite a vast area of missing tiles, isn't it? Look at that. Whole region, a whole part of the area. It's either that or maybe no satellite imagery exists for that, because it's such a remote part of Greenland. It's either that or, as Ian's saying, it's being renamed currently via Microsoft and Google. They are, Rab, actually closing down on us quite quick, aren't they? There's a chap from Denmark that's looks pretty close actually. We might be able to see him out this side. What's his altitude? Let's have a wee look. 38,000. He's flying the German Air Force A350 into the cloud. Welcome on board. Go here. Hey, there's a little house. What a random thing to see all the way down there. The tiny little house in the middle of nowhere on his own. Probably quite nice, nobody around to give you grief. Let's have a look at your view then, Rob. Oh yeah, look at that, loads better. That's MSFS 2020. Strange. Could be an igloo. Maybe they're the people that have been creating these big voids with GPS jammers sitting in his little igloo. He's literally missing texture. Look, that's just a big blue tile. I don't understand what that's supposed to be. Terrible. Oh well. It'll be interesting to see what brake to vacate does here, because it's thinking we're landing on 2-2, but we're doing a circle to land 04. So it'll be interesting to see if when we break off, if it's going to automatically go, oh, hold on a second, aeroplane's brain says this isn't right, and then it will just revert to auto brake medium. That's kind of what I'm expecting to take place. But we'll see what happens when we get there. Let's have a quick check of the landing performance. I'm going to switch that to 204. Sync the weather. Full flap, manual. Yeah, manual brakes, that'll do. Lovely job. Loads of space. Delete that, we can change that to, what was it, 1800. So that's the actual usable length. Beautiful. That works. Okay, 45 miles to top of descent then, folks. Now we will be ready. Thankfully, we're passing the end of these kind of Narnias, and we've got the terrain up ahead of us, which is rather nice. So we'll have some good views once again. And I'll run the meta for Nuuk back into the live chat to see what we've got for the latest, if it loads. Yeah, brake to vacate in 380 is very good, Ram. I've not flown that for a while either, actually. Okay, well, that is the copy paste of the current meta. I'll put it in the chat for you folks. But the mean winds are supposed to be on the forecast 060 at 12, so we'll expect it to switch back around. But either way, with that meta as it is, we've got a 9 knot crosswind, 3 knot tailwind effectively. The music is part of the Epidemic Sound Rock Essentials playlist. Pa Hagstrom, the Fire Baby. I don't know, I can't really hear it in the background where I am, so I don't know if you can hear it clearly or not. Not long to go. Very pleasant flight. This is what I needed, to be fair, for a end of a night shift row. Nice, easy flight. Potential for a spicy, challenging finish, though. But the A350 is just superb. So much void tile, so strange. Right, Matthew says you can create a pilot waypoint, the NDB in this case, but you cannot create a pilot waypoint based off another pilot waypoint, so it semi-works. Right, so basically what we're doing is the limit of what we can do today into Nuuk anyway. I think that's got to be a scenery problem, not just a nav data issue, surely. Because I think the scenery creators can add in bespoke coordinates and various different things. They could, for example, put the NDB in with the coordinate and stuff, but it doesn't seem to be the case that they've done that. Does the MM simulation scenery? I don't know if any of you watching has got the if you've got the MM simulations version of Nuuk, but does that have an NDB? My puppy has finally worked out how to open a door. It's only taken her a few months, bless her. German Shepherds are so unbelievably clever. Right, here we go. Top of descent is imminent. We're going to work on down to Getga, and that is where are we? Required to be 7,000. We'll go for 7,000 feet. And we'll just let VNav do its thing. So in we go into descent. Managed speeds, descent nav. Yeah, it might well be in the next nav data update from Navgraph, to be fair, because it's only been the last week and a half where lots of scenery creators have all of a sudden released Nuuk at the same time. So there's all of a sudden a demand for an airport that never really existed up until now. It may well be that for the next era update, the Navgraph team will have fixed it in and put it into the sim anyway. That would be the best case scenario. We'll have to wait and see. Thankfully those tiles are almost over, so we get a bit of a juicy terrain again. Fuel's very good, although we are now a ton heavier than we thought we would be, so that's just something to bear in mind for the approach phase, which might be 1 or 2 knots faster. Matthew, have a good day at work, matey. Safe travels. Oh, look. So we've got the NDB. But it's just not in the nav data. Interesting. Yeah, both are working. Okay, well that's good. That means it exists. It's just not in the nav data, which can be updated via Navgraph. But it means that the NDB is actually present in the sim and it's transmitting a signal because we've manually tuned it and we're picking it up now. Nuuk. I don't trust it enough, that's the thing. I'm tempted to revert back to the ILS X-Ray 04, but I don't trust it enough to set it in heading mode and rely on that being accurate. So we will stick as we are with the circle to land, which albeit, to be fair, is more challenging than the ILS X-Ray. So we'll just see what happens. We'll be alright. We need to sleep. There's our little fix ring. Oh, bloody Nora. Oh, it's Wesley. Where's Speedbird Zero flying to, Wesley, today? What trip are you doing? 3 knots. Keep refreshing the weather. 35 minutes ago that METAR. So we've got another... We might well get a refresh just before approach actually, but either way we'll stick with the plan. There's the terrain. Nuuk is kind of through there somewhere, so you follow that body of water there, it's just off to the left of the centre of the screen. You work off down towards the coastline over there, Nuuk is just kind of over there somewhere. Oh, Rab, here's a question for you. If you did your Yaris, you set cruise control, for example, and you set it, I don't know, you go to motorway speeds, so nationals 70, you set your cruise control to 70, and you're at 70 miles an hour, manually controlling the accelerator, and then you set cruise control to 70 miles an hour. What does it do? Does it reduce speed by a couple of miles per hour, but whilst the system kicks in to grab the power, and then it takes over and gets itself back to 70, or does it hold 70 really smoothly without a drop in speed? Because my Kia, when I activate cruise control, if I'm at the speed that I've set, I have to take my foot off the accelerator before the system kicks in, and with that you lose 3-4 miles per hour, which is pretty poor, I think. Whereas my old BMW was seamless. It was really smooth. Darren, welcome, mate. How you doing? Okay, so there's no drop when you first set it and release the accelerator pedal. It's things like that I want to test on Wednesday when I take the car for a test drive, really. That's good though. But yeah, the Kia system really lacks in that sense. So you set the 70 and then you let go of the accelerator pedal, and instead of it just taking over immediately and maintaining the speed that you've set that you're already at, it will then drop by a couple of miles per hour, which is pretty rubbish, I think. It's not particularly smooth. It's just more inefficient as well, isn't it? So it's a waste of fuel because the car slows down a little bit, then it has to accelerate again to get the speed back. So. But the tech on the Kia is so advanced. That's what I don't get. It's incredibly advanced in my car, but then it can't do cruise control very well. When it's active, it's flawless. But when I'm actually setting it, then it's a bit weird. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to describe, really. So do you remember right at the start when we configured in Keflavik for the flight, we set in the descent page, manage mode, it was Mach 8.5, which is preset, but we then manually set the speed at 280. So we overwrote the speed, which was meant to be 325 knots, I think it was, on conversion as we descend through 280. We then manually requested 280 knots, and it's done that seamlessly. There's no VOR approaches, Wesley. It's RMP or ILS. Although we are doing a circle to land, so kind of a bit of a visual approach, I suppose. Yeah, Chris, mine's got adaptive cruise control, but even that has got some flaws. Sometimes it gets confused. So if a lorry is in lane 1 and I'm in lane 2 on a motorway, for example, if the motorway curves round to the right and the lorry's ahead of me, the car thinks, even though it can sense the lanes, the car becomes unsure, and it doesn't then know if it's going to put us on offer and in line with a collision. So what it does is it backs off, and it senses that we might have it, so that it backs off. It's just very weird. I use normal drive mode. When you are testing the Corolla, put it in sport mode. Never use eco, it's useless. But the thing is, I'm going to have to use all of them. Because I need to kind of work out what it's like. Hey, there we go, look at that. I love this ID function that it's got for TCAS. 20 miles ahead, Osprey 59 November. 286 meters. 400 below. It's passing inbound now. I've got a lot, so I love that ID scenery, pretty good. Yeah, look at that now, the scenery's starting to kick in, isn't it, folks? Much more like it. Let's get the nippers in the seats. $60 miles. Well, it's actually 50 miles till we shoot the approach. So we're going in this valley here. And then just the other side of this hill, we'll be turning left. And Nuuk is kind of behind one of these hills here. Back there it is. That little outcrop there, I think, is Nuuk. I've got my geography correct. What do we go? We go down to... We'll go for continuous descent down to 3. So there is an issue with Greenland where the simulator feeds in loads of trees, and there are no trees here. So there is a mod on flightsim.to. I forgot to download it and install it for today. So we're going to see some trees again on the approach, but you can download a mod that removes trees from the entire island. It's just something to bear in mind. But I'm sure at some point, once the developers actually probably get around to putting exclusions around it with the new simulator, that'll probably be a problem that we don't need to worry about any further. How are we getting on? Let's get the terrain map on so we can chart separation from hills. I'm not sure how many multiples it is better, Wesley, but this is super smooth in comparison. The A380 is amazing, but it's poorly optimised, isn't it? We know that, and it does struggle on performance in comparison. Look at that. When I flew in the other day to create the video for the scenery, like a little first look review, all of this was completely surrounded in cloud. So I didn't really appreciate any of the landscape, but it is pretty spectacular. We're already getting a little bit of chop from the winds. We'll do that circle to land. The approach page is all ready to go. Oops, hit the mic, sorry guys. That's gone a bit weird in your ears. And we'll use vertical velocity mode today, so we'll use the bird. I think I'm trying to remember now the principles of this. I think we're going to fly offset 45 seconds. Check the weather. Yeah, live. Rab's looking at the real world camera though, so it's not looking that clear. Really low down to minimums are for us. With a chuffy neck. Zoland 15. Cat D. $15.20. Is that what I've got set in there? Yes. So we'll keep going down to what 2,000 feet, I think. We'll level off at 2,000. We'll use LS mode initially just for guidance. I think I'll just hand fly the descent as well on the approach. Stare at the instruments. I'm doing 13. That's all good. Let's get auto brake on. Let's brake to vacate blue. Bring the speed down now. Activate approach phase. $20, $30, 40 miles to the runway. Kind of going into this bit of valley there. I think actually the airfield's here somewhere. Or is that little outcrop there that's about to appear? One of them. Not sure which. Can't even remember. Yeah, very scenic, isn't it? Look at that. So there's the trees. They don't actually exist. The Sim's just plopped them on anyway. Let's get a bit of speed brake out. Lights and signs. I'll get the wing light on as well, just for cold temperatures we find ourselves in. Four 400, 3,000. 3,000 is 7 miles. Looks pretty good. Okay, we're on a nice trajectory here. Just leaving the speed brake out for a moment. Nuuk traffic, Osprey 165 heavies, an A350-900 inbound via Getda. We'll be flying the ILS Yankee 22 approach. We'll break off and fly a circle to land 04. We'll report flying the downwind leg. Nuuk traffic. Going through 8, let's pull. Go to local pressure. 200 knots is good enough for me. Let's get rid of that. We'll set 200. Overhead panel looks good. Cabin pressure's good. That's all set. There's Nuuk just up there. That'll do for the music. Go silent flight deck time. Oh yeah. Shame about those bits of terrain up there, look a bit blurry, don't they, in the sim from a distance. So remote. One on approach there. For visual of the grounds, let's get rid of the terrain mode, because that way we can just actually see what's going on the mapping system a bit better on the nav display. Just going to bring that brightness up as well to help us a bit more. Autopilot off, my controls. Let's hand flower in. All the way from Getda. Real test of controllability of the aeroplane now. And instrument flying skills. It will mean though that the kind of the end result will be the fact that I'm not going to be looking outside as much now. I'm going to be looking at these screens a lot. So runway's right ahead of us now. I'm going to arm approach mode, just so when we get the glide slope. Oh no, we don't really need to, screw it. I need vertical velocity. Track FPA with the bird, we'll use that, we'll snap over to it shortly, but I need flight directors for now. Flaps 1. Speed 180. Lights, signs, speed brake arms. Parking brake off. Cabin secure. Now I'm going to focus on the ILS diamonds instead. So I think a bit of an offset approach this, to be honest, from memory.
Traffic Osprey 115 heavy, taking runway 22, vacating runway 4 via Alpha to the stand 1 for traffic.
7-4 for the mist. Gonna reset that to 0. We'll bring off the rate of descent now. Trying to keep the speed up because I know there's a lot of other people flying in at the moment as well. We've got a tailwind now. we'll go down to 2 and we'll break off. Claudia, welcome.
Traffic Osprey 15 heavy, locating runway for
bringing that nose down to meet the glide slope.
For traffic.
Don't forget, folks, we've got to backtrack the entire runway. Weird, because it doesn't look like it's properly... Everything's very blurry today in the sim. Quite distracting. Because ordinarily I should be able to see the runway by now. And I can't. We're 8 miles. That'll be it.
$2,500.
Here, let's just set heading mode for a moment. .27. We go flaps 2, just to keep the nose down for us. Coming up to 2,000, so just arresting the descent. Oh look, the sim's loading in. Okay, here we go. Start the clock. Just going to let us drift down to 1500. There's the airfield. So, such a small runway. Just going to let that rate of descent just trickle down. 400 feet per minute is good. I'm happy with 180 for now. Right, let's bring it to 160. Where's my clock? .45. 222.
100 above.
Let's hold her there then. Got one ahead, Osprey 59 November. Nuuk traffic, Osprey 165 heavy is on the downwind, circle to land 04.
Traffic at 9227 is on the right side for the airline number 04, currently 10 miles out.
Jeez. I'll extend my downwind leg for you then. I should be turning now.
Roger, thank you, and I'll give 5 to you during the approach. I'll be affected your last one.
Ooh, there's a choppy bit of weather. I'm going to just change the navrad page while we have a moment then. I'm going to hold 16. I'm going to change this to 1113. Nuuk course 042. He's not turning in yet, is he? Don't know what that aeroplane is.
Nuuk traffic, Osprey 7 Alpha Golf, going to enter the hold at...
Right, no, yeah, I'll turn in, Wes.
Number. Nuuk traffic.
Nuuk traffic, Osprey 165, going to sequence ahead of Osprey 59 November. He's, I think, 20 miles out still. So turning final, 04 visual approach.
Minimum.
Let's go.
Okie dokie. I started that turn a bit tight initially, but that's fine. I just thought I'll get the turn in so I can get ahead. Bit of a crosswind. It's handled so well. Now I've tuned that ILS frequency in for 04. Look, we're getting the vertical lateral guidance, which has helped.
Osprey 59 November, we'll join the islands behind the top.
Traffic Osprey 1013, 10,000 for 2,500.
Yes, Wasp. I think it's a scenery issue. It doesn't seem to have a DME. Yeah, a shaky bit of weather there. Landing memo, snow blue. Landing gear is down 3 green. Whee! Gotta try and do a bit of work to help the lads out on final behind us here. It's now starting to look at that. Oh, winch! Look at that! It's just switched all the way around to the other direction there for that. Crosswind. With that, we've caught the sink. The weather on short final is very variable, windy conditions.
500
for information. Look.
400. 300. 200. 160. 30.
Too short.
20.
Too short.
10. 5.
Love that. B-Rust kicking in. Runway too short. Medium brakes. Reverse green. 100. Runway too short. I'm gonna just. I know this isn't particularly accurate. I'm gonna try and help the guys out behind. I'm gonna use all the width here. Probably nibble a bit of grass just to come off, because we can't use Bravo. We've got to get back to Alpha. Tell you what though, that bit of VRAS at the end, runway too short, that is the last thing you want to hear when you're flying in somewhere. And Nuuk traffic, Osprey 165 heavies on a quick backtrack to Alpha to vacate. Bloody Nora. I'll be out of your way, I promise.
No worries, we can always go on.
Flaps, ground spoilers.
I have your station ready.
If yeah, runway's vacated.
Traffic Osprey 59 November is on the islands.
Oh, Chuffing X, someone's in the only
6 miles.
bloody stand for heavies. Just going to set the parking brake a second. Excuse me. Runway too short. That's going to be in my head all day now. The terrain tricks your eye as well. Oh, it's a tap. I didn't hear them call up initially. I'm glad I got out of his way. Hopefully he deployed his gear. That's just an FSLTL bug. Otherwise, like, quite a very nice landing. Fire trucks are ready. They heard we were coming in. I'm just going to work out. Osprey 115. I might have to park on top of you, mate.
Traffic Capital 9007, brake tracking, runway 04, and 17 vacation. And just to confirm on the previous report, there's some mechanical turbulence on the short final.
TCAS.
Nuuk traffic Osprey 1013, turning
Stand by.
final, runway 04, we're gonna call 1005, 505 now.
Oh, that's why the tap didn't appear on my TCAS either.
Nuuk traffic, Osprey 59 November is on a 3 mile.
I'm just going to hide Osprey 115,
04.
just so I can
Traffic
park.
Capital 9007, and 904 vacation.
GSX menu. GSX is basically froze. Oh well, we shall park ourselves. In fact, I'll use my taxi camera mode.
Nuuk traffic Osprey 1013, fully established ILS runway 04, we'll call 505.
Doesn't help.
And we have a field in sight for Osprey 1013.
Look at that smoke coming out the bottom of the engine there. Whoops. It's hard doing it the opposite direction. Rightio, that'll do, park brake set. Robs is going to come in on 2-2 and see how it is. That's bold. So that's all good, that's all good, that's all set, that's set. AP bleeds, that's all good. Just reset the rudder trim, turn the engines off. Flight directors, stop washing people with AVF. GSX has froze, of course it has. Oh, it's actually crashed. I have to open QATL. That's why that's stuck.
Nuuk traffic Osprey 1013, we are a 5 mile final, runway 04.
Traffic for Osprey 59 November, vacated runway 04.
What the heck's going on with GSX?
Osprey 7 Alpha Golf is going to leave the hold and head for the ILS runway 04, number transition. Nuuk traffic.
Well, that's figuring its life out. Let's go to New Sky. We'll close the log, see what we get. Ooh, juicy profit. 9.71 off sand to line landing deviation, fair enough. I'll take that. But otherwise, a very good score. Activate services. Request deboarding. Deboarding requested. There we go. Deboarding requested. Lovely. Here they come, scurrying around the jet. Where are the other guys? There's oh, there's the little ATR. Love it. And there's the tap. There's that Zata on final. How many we got on approach? Zato. The approach is pretty much clear though. Rob, if you want to come in now, mate. David's on his way in. Good, look Zato. Here he comes. It's weird, the sim's not rendering gear today. Unless awkwardly he's forgotten. Wee, spicy. What? Where's he gone? Where's he gone? Where's he gone? There he is. VATSIM disappearing a bit weird, I think. Why have I got no gear in my FSLTL models? Very strange. Why does it keep beeping at me? Did you forget your gear, Zato? Oh no, he's moving, that's good. What are you beeping at? Oh, there we go, I didn't disarm the doors.
Osprey 1013, vacated runway 04.
Why does it open that one?
Osprey 7 Alpha Golf, established ILS 04, 10 mile final.
What are you beeping at? What the? Well, that's horribly wrong. I don't know. Who's next? Exit open 3. Why? 1, 2. Oh, maybe it's that one. Yeah, deboarding passengers now. That's going to be a right mess then. How many people are going to come out of the doors that aren't complete with steps, do we reckon? Suspense is killing me. Jay, no, I haven't tried Parallel 42 Chase Plane yet. I'd love to check it out and I'd love to review it, but I don't think he does content creating review properties. But also my MSFS 2020 has deleted itself, so that's then also scuppered my chances of even wanting to buy it to download it potentially, because unfortunately it means that I don't have MSFS 2020 anymore. And he's taken a right old time getting compatibility with the new sim sorted. So we've got David on approach now on final, and then we've got Rob just over the fjords behind the airport, just in a stack, waiting to come in. Here comes David, Airbus A320neo being operated by him today. And Rob's coming in on 2-2 to see how it goes on. There's the windsock. It's weird I've got no landing gear today on these AI aeroplanes. Yeah, you can see the wind kind of backing and veering, pushing him about. Dave's doing a very good job of holding the centre line though. Look at that, my goodness. He's down. It's hard to tell without the gear. That's rendered in as an A320ceo. And then Rob's going to come in on the other direction.
Osprey Alpha Golf 4, we got it down, we're backtracking runway 04.
There's, while he does that, there's Nuuk, the city. You've got the pier, the port and stuff that goes off over there as well, which is very nice. Couple of ships. Showed all this in my preview video. And then just the other side of the airport, round the back here, there's Nuuk Prison there. One of the world's most dangerous prisons. There's a TV show about it, it's quite cool. Wasp says he doesn't have landing gear appearing in his 2024 either. Weird. Obviously some weird problem at the minute with the update then. And Rob's going to come in on 2-2. John, yeah, my MSFS 2020 has completely deleted itself. I don't really understand why. I've lost all my add-ons, everything, because of that. So I don't have MSFS 2020 anymore. I'll have to reinstall the whole thing. And it's kind of forced me now to just embrace 2024. Yeah, it takes up a lot less space on the hard drive. I've got a lot of aeroplanes that I enjoy, and some of really good scenery now that's come across. Minus the PMDG products, which I'm desperate for. I'm just going to keep hold of this, I think. Just crack on 2024. It's forced me to transfer across earlier than I'd like to. Rob's on sort of short-ish final at the moment. Probably about 2,000. So that's about 8 mile final. I mean, the one thing with flying this in in hand flight, we turned all the way from Getka, didn't we? We hand flew. If I just get this, where's the map? Hold on. There we go, charts. Right, so we turned the autopilot off here as we were turning, and then we've kept it off. We just hand flew the entirety of the approach, and then basically did that circling approach there. A bit of a steeper turn initially than I thought, but it was because of that quite sudden decision to just turn in and get ahead of that aeroplane in front. We could have probably done it earlier as well.
Classic Osprey Airways is established on the
But
ILS
it
runway
handled
22
so well.
miles. Traffic.
Should see him momentarily, he says. Rob is flying. I'm just going to try and find him. Oh, is it the E190? Yeah, I think he is. Oh, it's just a generic Asobo E190 then. It's just a plain white. Oh, it's A300. Oh yeah, but I don't have that. because it's deleted itself. So it's appearing as a different jet. Where is he? Should be appearing any second. The suspense.
Nuuk traffic, Osprey Airways 390 is on short final 4 miles, runway 22.
So he's actually flying the A350-600 freighter. Just for information, folks. But he's going to appear as an Embraer E190. But model matching is still a little bit quirky in the newer Microsoft Flight Simulator at the moment. Where is he? How do you compare the 777 performance with PMDG to the A350? I think the A350 is a tiny bit heavier on performance, but actually they're very similar. I think the best way of comparing the A350's performance, Jay, would be comparing it against the Phoenix A320 series. And it performs very similar to that, if that makes sense. Here he comes. Oh. Right. Let's see how he gets on. So he's flying in with a bit more of a tailwind on this arrival on 22. Looking good. VATSIM's definitely being a bit weird today, isn't it? There we have it, last pilot in. There's that little motley crew, including the ATR there. We haven't flown that for a while either. Superb aeroplane, one of my favourites. Great fun. There we go, folks. We're at Keflavik to Nuuk in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 and the iniBuilds A350-900 as well. I hope you've enjoyed the live stream throughout today. It's been a little while, so I hope you have enjoyed the last couple of hours at the very least. Keep an eye on the channel. On Wednesday I'll be going to that Flight Simulator experience down at London Gatwick, the one that we've got channel discounts for. So if you are interested, make use of it. Keep your eye out on the channel for video coming soon for that as well. I'd be very excited to share my thoughts with you all and give it a go. But in the meantime, as always, thank you very much for watching. Check out on the channel today, there was a Tobii Eye Tracker sweepstake video. They're doing another one of those sweepstakes so you could be in with a chance to win one of the Tobii Eye Trackers. It's worth entering that. So check out that video that went live today on the channel a little earlier on, and the community posts for those discounts for Infinity Sim Wings at Gatwick. But as always, thank you for flying and watching, and I'll see you soon. Take care.